I know everyone watching my videos at this point is well aware that I'm an outspoken and unapologetic anti-theist as well as an atheist. But I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about a concept that we're all familiar with. Prayer. Today at lunch there was this super fine woman walk by me. You know, smiling, tight skirt, just the absolute fucking banging body, man. To keep this PG, I'll just say that she was super fucking hot. I mean, maybe a little less sexy than that. Yeah, that's probably closer. So she struts off to her table, sits down. As soon as she sits down, she looks directly at her plate, and I see her close her eyes. And probably about 5 seconds later, she does, this deal. And I realize, she's praying. And almost immediately, her extreme hotness just faded the fuck away like water going down a drain. And I sat there kind of really wondering, why is it that prayer is such a turnoff? It's because even on a subconscious level, my mind sees it as fucking ridiculous. What was this woman praying for? Was she thanking God for the food? Because the food was harvested or slaughtered by the farmers at the farm. It was processed and cooked by the chefs at the restaurant. And either her or her husband were responsible for the money it took to afford the meal. So why did God earn even 5 seconds of their dinner conversation? It just spun my mind off on the concept of prayer because there's so much wrong with it. And I begin to ask myself, what does it accomplish? You find yourself telling a God who you believe is all-powerful and all-knowing, thanks. But if he's all-powerful and all-knowing, doesn't he already know that you're thankful? And what about asking God for things? Doesn't God already know what you want? And if he was going to give it to you, wouldn't he have already done so? And what do people always say when God doesn't give them what they want? Thy will be done, Lord. I mean, do I really have to point out the absurdity here? Sounds to me like shit's gonna happen the way shit's gonna happen, and believers are gonna believe it was God's will regardless. Because in their minds, God cannot be in the wrong. God cannot lose. The second question to come to my mind was, what does prayer mean? My real beef with prayer is the extreme arrogance of the concept. The almighty super being who spoke the universe into existence sits around waiting on my beck and call because all he wants to do is talk to me. It's also arrogant on behalf of the person praying because the person praying is demanding that God, who the person praying believes is all-knowing and all-good, to rearrange reality for him or her because it would be more convenient or preferable to his or her desires. And yet another problem with prayer, in terms of arrogance, is what people think God gives them through their prayers. Katy Perry believes that God gave her her tits. Because women don't just grow tits naturally. Even ones that impressive. Half of Americans believe that God intervenes in football games because of their prayers. A large number of Republicans thought that prayer would stop President Obama's re-election in 2012 and even repeal Obamacare. Prayer fails. Simple as that. Prayer did not stop Obamacare. Prayer does not help amputees sprout back severed limbs. Prayer doesn't feed starving people, and it doesn't stop sick assholes from fucking children. Prayer didn't stop 6 million of God's favorite people from being enslaved, gassed, and burned alive. Imagine how they prayed. And imagine how it felt when no answer came. See, the woman's praying turned me off because I see it as a silly, outdated, arrogant concept. I don't see it any differently than I see any other superstition. Black cats, walking under ladders, broken mirrors, asking God to enchant your meal. It's all bullshit. It doesn't work, and it makes you look like an asshole.